fact, the ones that are the problem, to put it quite bluntly. That's the presentation of the NPA. Just in conclusion, to address some of the issues raised, and it's a pity Honorable Matiwane is not here, but he's raises very important issues. And the point is, are we as the state, in fact, the ones that are the problem, to put it quite bluntly? The racketeering authorizations, challenges to that is new. So we've only have 2 at the moment where the national directors, and we don't have a decision in those matters. So they are before the courts. And we will, in terms of the percentage of the interlocutory applications that we win as opposed to lose, we'll try, but I think it's going to be very complex to try to get those numbers, but we'll certainly do what we can to give the committee an understanding of what, whether the state is at fault in most of them, we're losing these cases or not. My understanding is that we're successful in the majority of them, but we'd like to have some, if we can give you some empirical evidence, which is going to be a bit tricky, but we'll see what we can do to give you that. I just want to, on the asset forfeiture point, the last points we're making, I think it's important for the committee to understand the importance of the work of asset forfeiture in the fight against corruption, and because it is all about money. And so we have a 2-pronged strategy to dealing with corruption. One is prosecutions and getting people, as you mentioned, in orange overalls, Chair, which for various reasons takes very, very long time. The other prong is asset recovery, to take away the funds. And in terms of the Act, Prevention of Organized Crime Act, you can have civil recovery or you can have criminal conviction-based recovery. And to explain so that people know, the conviction-based recoveries are dependent on a successful prosecution. So those recoveries will take longer because prosecutions take longer for various reasons that we can talk about. But the civil-based recovery is in terms of Chapter 6 of POCA, which is not dependent on a conviction. But there we can move quicker, and that is where the AFU has been doing exceptionally good work in terms of trying to recover monies in terms of Chapter 6 of POCA, utilizing a very innovative corporate alternate dispute resolution mechanism that we have put in place. And to explain, we have guidelines, and this is where, and I want to be clear about this because there's some misunderstanding about this mechanism. This is where only the corporates, the companies, can come forward and disclose their involvement in corruption, and we reach an agreement with regard to a settlement damages that they can pay back towards the state. But it does not include individuals. So directors and individual persons are still subject to prosecution, but the benefit of the resolution, one of them is that the corporate agrees to actually work with the investigators to provide evidence against individuals who will still be subject to prosecutions. We've had some very, very big settlements, and just to indicate to the committee that the illegal mining initiatives of government to tackle illegal mining, which was about 2.2 billion rands from asset recoveries that funded the entire government's response to illegal mining. I think that was about 18 months ago or thereabouts, where we had a whole of government approach where the Zamas were an issue. And so money from CARA, the Criminal Assets Recovery Account, where when the final order is obtained, the money that we freeze is then deposited into CARA. That was used to exclusively fund that project. So to just give the committee an understanding of the importance of the work of asset recovery in terms of supporting various initiatives. Just on some of the challenges, Chair, the issue of, I don't think we can underestimate what happened in terms of trying to weaken institutions during state capture, the Hawks being one of them. You raised this issue, Chair. General Libya, who's now retired, has often said, and the 50%, the fact that they are working at 50% capacity is simply unacceptable. The challenges with skills in those critical specialized areas is a huge problem for a number of these matters. including in the big Prasa matter, which is a challenge that there's a lot of challenges in that investigation. Chair, I also want to bring to the attention of, and as General Makinyana said, we don't want these to come across as excuses, but the committee needs to understand the real challenges that we're facing. Witness protection is a real challenge. People coming forward to speak out against corruption, they put their lives at stake. So to get witnesses to come forward to testifying in a commission is very, like the Zondo Commission, is very different to testifying in a criminal case, where there are consequences to people's assets and their freedom. So putting your life and that of your family at risk is one of the challenges we're facing, where people are scared to come forward and testify. Dealing with the issue of salary, and as the General said, we're trying to, and the IDAC, we have experienced it now, where we recruit these specialized skills relating to particularly forensic skills. Because the NPA, and I think potentially the police, are actually guided by the public service salary scales, we cannot match salary scales that other entities like the SIU can actually give to for the same skills, or SARS, the revenue service. Forget about going to the private sector. So we are finding that we are constantly bringing in people, training them, getting them to 2 years, 3 years, then they get much, much bigger opportunities in terms of bigger salaries. So I've raised this matter several times and said, unless we can find some way of getting the NPA and the police out of these, we will constantly be the recruitment ground for other entities within government and in the private sector. So it's very hard to keep up and to deal with these challenges. So that's a very, very important issue that we would need support on in terms of trying to address that. And I think I'm going to leave it at that for now, and we'll take questions. Thank you, Chair.